Hello, Froggy here, and today I'll be showing you several hidden areas inside of Altars of Summoning. I'm using the Invoke mission since it's not match-made. You'll want to go ahead and open the door at the beginning. This may take a while. The repeatable match-made one should work as well. This was just more convenient. Anyways, I wasn't able to find a way outside of this area, which would definitely save us a lot of time. But we'll just have to go up and get out a different way.
I named this chamber the Oubliette, after a human invention. A prison where the only exit is the ceiling, just out of reach.
The biggest of the secret areas we're going to is up in the ceiling, just out of reach. Luckily we can summon sparrows, so getting up here isn't all that difficult. Once you get close, you'll see the name, the Imbaru engine. This should be coming later on in the season. I believe it's probably the exotic mission. The second of the hidden areas is behind this door. I've got no clue when that one's coming. For all I know, it's end season. Anyways, I wasn't able to find a classical hole into either of these areas, so we're gonna have to pull out the big guns and do a little syncboxing. We'll be dropping a sparrow down into that gap. Many places will work. I just chose this area because, as you'll see in a moment here, when the sparrow falls, it keeps line of sight and just gently rolls down the hill. That means that it doesn't really matter how long we wait. It should just work if we get the timing right. I'll link a full guide to syncboxing since I'm not going to be showing both perspectives here. The first step is to desync the observer. I recommend having scroll wheel bound to moving and capping your frames at 30 so that will actually move you a decent amount. The observer can desync themselves, or you can gently push them off, though you'll need to confirm with them that they didn't actually fall off the cliff. You'll want to slowly push them off so they have time to settle, and hopefully they will fall off while still being up there on their screen. You can see I'm kind of snapping back there occasionally. So my observer will switch to an explosive payload weapon or something like that to knock the sparrow off. This transfers the desync to the sparrow. I like to use message in chat to synchronize, so as soon as I see the message, I'll try to ride. That time I was a bit early because I got on the sparrow before it teleported to where the observer sees it. If that happens, you can rapidly retry with the same sparrow. You can hear the observer's shots firing there, so it should be falling. And you can see that time I was a bit too late. I only got a little bit of the prompt before it teleported away. If you err on both sides, you're getting pretty close. Luckily in this spot we can resummon, so in that case you can also go pretty quickly. If you get it correctly, it'll look about like this. If you pretty much fill the prompt and you don't teleport, you probably did not have line of sight. You'll want to move a little bit uphill here, because there are turnbacks and death barriers in the other way, and I found out the hard way that it's possible to just get stuck in a death loop. You don't have to actually climb up this way, you can go around, but I've got navigators, so might as well, even though I'm immediately just going around anyways. Heading over to where that door is, because there's a convenient area to drop below this kind of hill. And now we're outside the Oubliette sort of area, where we started off. If we were able to get out of this area, it would save us from having to do that first Syncbox, which would be very convenient, but so far I've had no luck. Perhaps there'll be a dismount breach or some small intangible surface we haven't yet hit our heads against. But anyways, it's nice to be out here. I'm just killing time while waiting for Skrill and Salvo to join me down here. It's possible to get all 3 people down, but the last person will have to do a special sort of Syncbox that Salvo calls deboxing. That one involves directly desyncing the Sparrow by having it parked very precariously on an edge so that it will fall off for the observer. The good thing about that is that the observer doesn't need to be able to shoot the Sparrow off, so it works when the observer is down below already. It's not easy, but it's the only way you'll be able to get all 3 people down. And I suppose would let you do it with only 2. Anyways, once you're ready, you'll want to head over in this direction. This is about where we will be doing the next Syncbox. But first, I seem to have stumbled into the dusty back rooms. And an intangible wall that isn't actually helpful. They really can just be anywhere, can't they? Very strange. Anyways, let's head over to the Syncbox location. We tried a few other areas, and some of them don't even get you properly out. But once again, here the Sparrow should sort of roll into a place that you can still see, so just need to get the timing right with the observer and you will make it. Once again, we need to desync our observer, and then we can proceed with the Syncbox. I'll just be showing the successful one here. Although this particular time, I think we did get it first try. We had been doing a lot of Syncboxes, and the more you do, the more you kind of get used to it. You can see the observer there just before he pops back up top. Anyways, while they work on getting down here as well, let's see what we can see. We've escaped the Oubliette, but unfortunately there's no escaping this Oblate Spheroid we find ourselves in now. As far as I can tell, it's solid everywhere. And don't go into the middle, because the middle is pretty much all in box except for the very tippy top of it. There are 2 terrain layers to deal with. One that forms the floor of the cave, and one at the ceiling. They're both solid, as are pretty much all the rocks you see around. And these handy-dandy towers. I'm a big fan of those. They were one of the first things I wanted to reach when I saw this place. Let's get that frame rate back up. There we go, much better. Let's keep going. I would recommend using the various towers and solid objects here to occasionally set a spawn point, just in case. There's not much that can get you into trouble here, mostly just if you come in contact with the box and get pulled back in. But there are also occasional death barriers around there, so best to be safe and occasionally set a new spawn point. There is a lot of sparrow flying to go. You can see the Imbaru engine in the back there. I could go straight for it, but first I want to see if we can get behind that door we saw down below. If you haven't guessed already, there will be some location-based spoilers coming up. So if you want to avoid that, I would recommend heading out now. Last chance. Should be coming into view right about now. Turns out there's another arena back here. I have no idea when it'll come into play. For all I know, it could already be available once you get all 5 cards. I haven't done that yet. But could also not come around till the end of the season. It is a big, fancy looking door. If we get below this ceiling, we can see how close we can get. I would recommend having a low light level and a explosive on you in case you get pulled into the box, so that you can prevent yourself from being dragged against the surface and having to restart the whole thing. There are definitely some surfaces out of box there, but seems there's a kill barrier. But death planes are no match for Syncbox. Salvo and Skrill managed to Syncbox down.
Good stuff, dude.
Oh, I hope you're recording.
So here's the door.
Open it.
I wish.
Touch door.
Door stuck.
There, door touched. Door has been touched.
You can see that there are places to put offerings on the sides. So this will probably act as a regular sort of encounter once it comes around.
Right there? Look, there's an opening.
You can't, death barrier. That's why.
Like if I went in like straight up sideways, I would hit a death barrier.
Yeah.
Positive.
There's plenty of areas for ads to spawn and a giant portal. Don't know what's going to be coming through that, but we've seen those sort of portals with Hive before. It's a kind of interesting looking place. I wonder how it will play out. Of course, I imagine you're wondering what happens if you walk into the portal. It just kind of bounces you back, which is what we generally see with portals like that. Anywho, we've got an Imbaru engine to explore. I've flown up to just about the top of the dome. I was kind of curious to see if maybe the top would be intangible and we could escape our Oblate prison. But there was no such luck. I know of no means to escape this Oblate Spheroid. So that structure there is within the box pull. Found that one out the hard way too, but luckily I was able to make it all the way in. I would drop directly onto this structure. Welcome to the end of the Imbaru engine. We're actually going to be exploring this one backwards for several reasons. First off, it's the safest place to enter, and secondly, the first room, I don't actually know how to escape once you get in. Apart from just blocking off your previous spawn points, but You're probably going to be spending a lot of time in there because it is a very cool looking room. You can kind of peer into the sides of most rooms if you stand in the right place. But we don't have to settle for that. I've managed to get into all except for maybe one of the rooms. They get progressively more difficult to break into. This one has a bunch of intangible walls. So I'm having a bit of trouble with this one. But that's fine, this structure repeats itself around the room. It's a structure that we knew about from Throne World, although it's a bit less red there. If you kind of walk in here and go to the side, you'll pass right through. I haven't been able to get on the other side of this door, but there's only one room back there. As you can see, it passes the bullet test, so probably will be opening. And I presume that this is the last room and not the previous one. I'm guessing the exotic will be sitting on this pedestal. But that's just speculation. Does feel a lot like an exotic quest. Which I really hope so, because then it might get onto the rotator and we'll get to keep this very interesting location in the game. Luckily, it's just as easy to get out of this room as it was to get in. We just have to climb back up there. I imagine when we actually get access to this area, we probably won't be able to summon sparrows. But for now, we can enjoy that. I wasn't able to Rez Breach or Sparrow Breach into this room, and I'm not sure how you actually enter it. But you can enter the top of this elevator. And with some precise falling, you can get all the way down. I think this is going to be some sort of teleporter puzzle, because there's a lot of the kind of mirror teleporters around. Can be a bit of a pain with this spinning blades, but if you go too far down, you just hit a kill barrier. That was just a spike barrier, though. Hello, Salvo. That was a pretty delayed death. Yeah, these spinning things are strange. And we've got a one-way grav lift. Just going to go check for doors around here. Luckily, there are several ways to get through this. Sparrows work. But also use a stasis melee or a phoenix dive if you're on a warlock. And we've got a nice ramp, so I guess for the hive that would probably count as handicap accessible. There's no way we're going to get back out the top, so we're going to have to backtrack a bit. With the spawn system changes, that's a little bit more difficult, but luckily sparrows will block spawn points. So we'd be going a bit faster if I had my bond on. There we go. I think I just may have slit that I'm actually a warlock main. Should be getting pretty close. And we're back at the top. Time to continue on down. Next we'll be getting into this room, I believe. Or Actually, no, I think this might be another one that I haven't figured out a way into. So we've got another one of those spike hallways, and if you look up here, we have another hole. There's a turn back up there, so you'll need to be quick. I used a grapple to get through, though plenty of other methods work. Thanks to Elite, Eater of Crayons, for pointing that hole out. Definitely would have been hard for me to have run into that one randomly. And we've got all sorts of rooms around. I wasn't able to find how you go forwards from this room. Or at least I wasn't quite sure. Might actually be a side room you dip into for a little bit. Kind of feeling maybe a bonus chest up here? Or maybe even here, but definitely not higher, because if you jump here you get a turn back. These rooms are all rather interesting. They've all kind of got their own look. And we've got another lift. Well, ha. Almost got me back in there. Another one of these spiky hallways. And we're back to being Lucent. Sure, that'll come into the story of this place somehow. The alternating between Hive and Lucent sort of areas. And this door does not open. Which is a real shame, because that's possibly the coolest room of this entire area. But luckily we're able to break into that too. Just gotta get back out of here. It's a bit easier to go up these than down. I think the way forwards is also from a different door in this room. Anyways, when you're ready to leave, you want to head back to this wall. Turn back starts right about the top of this cliff, but at this specific area there's a spot where if you crouch you don't have the turn back. I like getting above the turn back to get back, but you could just run over the top into the corner. Going up just kind of gives you a better view of what's going on. I'm just going to sparrow fly over to the corner. And we should see the light of the outside poking through. Nice and forgiving. And we're right back to where we were before. I only know how to get into one last room, but it's definitely the coolest one. But before we do that, let's just take a look around the outside. You can see the top part of the elevator shaft that does nothing there. Random tube over there. Don't know what that's about. And I believe this was the door we were just on the other side of. And you can see the tube below that we initially sparrow-flied up about, I don't know, 15 minutes ago in the video. Seems one of the spikes got a little bit lost. There are a lot of grav lifts that just sort of poke through the ground. They can be handy for getting around if you don't feel like sparrow flying. Although you had to sparrow fly a lot to get here. Or grapple fly, I guess. Got a weird sort of plus sign thing going on here and some statues in the middle of nowhere. Wonder if it's deep sight related. Oh, looks like I got caught in one of the grab lifts. Nothing a little melee can't fix. And down here we've got a little dev playground. Just a collection of objects that they can copy and paste from, I think. It's always fun to run into them. We'll be Rez Breaching into the next room. Titan's probably your best bet, but I'll be showing you how to get non-Titans in if they have trouble with the Rez Breach. See the stairs we would be entering the room from. And if we come around this way, we'll get to the area that I managed to get the Rez Breach in. Gotta get my melee back. I got this one the first time I tried it, but it turns out that that was mostly dumb luck. This is not an easy Rez Breach. Not the hardest one I've done, but getting back in here a second and third time did take a bit of doing. Most of the time you either just get gently pushed out or not so gently pushed out. But if all goes well, you should be able to get through. I wasn't able to find an exclusion zone to use to make this one easier, so you're just going to have to get in directly. And we're out. Or in, I guess. And this is a very trippy room. Let's see about getting salvo in here. Can we use one of the tricks we were using in the Seraph facility? You just want to die while getting off and boosting to the side on your Sparrow when you should be able to drop a ghost through that door. And so long as someone is there to get the res, you can get through. So this is the first time that I actually got that Rez Breach, but might be helpful to give another example. If nothing else, just to show that it is in fact possible to do it more than once. Some people may remember the initial Helm video and how difficult it was to reproduce that one. Anyways, here we are again. And while you could get back out by backtracking, I imagine you'll be setting lots of spawn points in here because it is a cool place to check out. There's the door we saw at the beginning of the video. If that were open, all of this would have been unnecessary. Although I guess I don't know how to leave this room to get to the others. But with a room like this, I think I would be
Guardian down.
Pretty happy just hanging out here. Let's see if we can get a fusion in. Yep. Looks like the spawn point was a bit too far away. But yeah, this is a fun room to jump around. And it really messes with my head when these things swing sideways, particularly the ones that are going vertically. Here's the door we used earlier. One of the doors on the side is real, but it doesn't open from this side outside of the mission that it belongs to, I guess. And the side-to-side ones don't get me nearly as much as the vertical ones do. But yeah, the vibes in this room are just off, and I am all here for that. Ooh, that was a close one. But yeah, this is shaping up to be a very cool mission, whatever it's used for. I'm mostly hoping it'll be exotic just because it may one day make that playlist after this season gets sunset. I'm glad they're bringing back some of the old stuff and giving it a place in the game. Hopefully one day we'll get to see things like Whisper again. Once again, the 1 foot that stood between us and several sync boxes to get here. I could definitely just imagine coming down here and just, I don't know, spending 20 or so minutes just jumping around. Be a fun place to play tag if you could manage to get a fire team here.
Guardian down.
It would be cool if, like, gravity would shift when you're in here, but probably would be out of scope to make huge engine changes for a season. Even Prophecy's Hexahedron makes use of some trickery to get around its rotation stuff.
Guardian down.
Poor Fusion over there is having no luck with that Rez Breach. Oh yeah, and I guess we got sparrows in here for now. I will be utterly shocked if we have that in the mission. Anyways, I hope you managed to make it out here. And if not, at least you have a fun area to look forwards to.